Jeannie from Trendy Tree, and today we're going to show you, well, I'm going to show you, my sidekick is not here today. It's Saturday morning and Carrie's off with the kids, but they're going to come back in a little bit and pick me up and we're going to go ride bicycles. So I thought before then I might have a chance to have enough time to show you how to make a flower wreath. And this is the first flower wreath that we made out of yellow Deco paper mesh, and this was on a 24-inch work wreath, a glitter twig frame. Today we're going to show you how to make one a little bit smaller, and we're going to use a new 10-inch pencil wreath work wreath and fuchsia Deco paper mesh, which is 10 inches in width and 10 yards in length, and lime green Deco paper mesh. We're going to use this for our leaves. And then we have these, our center is going to be a little different from what we did on the yellow sunflower. We're going to use these twist balls for the center. The first thing we're going to need to do on the pencil wreath, and on this 10-inch pencil wreath, it does measure the middle part 10 inches across, but you have your twist on each side of that. So depending on what kind of materials you're putting on your wreath, you wind up with a finished product that's, 20 inches or even wider, depending on what you put on it. So the first thing you do is this is a hot pink. You take your twist and smooth them out, get them out of the way. And since on this flower, we're going to want to put petals on the inside, we don't want this opening, we're going to use some just chenille pipe cleaners or chenille stems and make a little center across, an area across the center where we can add some more petals. And we just do this by finding the center spot and attaching it. Pull it real snug. Just twist your ends around it and have them out of the way, and then take another one and just do you want to have it in the center like this, and then take another one and just go right across that. And I'm just going to make those chenille stems connect in the center there so it won't be slipping and sliding around. And it helps too, I don't know if you can see that or not, when you attach it to the wireframe, if you go around one of the posts on the wireframe, on the work wreath, that will keep it from sliding around from one side to the other. And the reason I'm doing this now is just because it's easier to see before you get started putting your petals on. So that's what it looks like before we get started. Now, the first thing we're going to do is cut our leaves. And we have our nice cutting mat. You've heard us talk about this before. It's a self-healing mat, which means when you make your cuts, it just seals up and you can just keep cutting and keep cutting. And we're looking at trying to get these stocked on Trendy Tree, so maybe we'll have those one day. Now I'm going to put my glasses on so I can see the inches. But for the leaves, we're going to cut them about 14 inches, cut our strips about 14 inches in length. And this is not a full roll of paper mesh. We used it the other day when we made one of these for someone. They used it on their mailbox post outside. We did two for them and they turned out real well. Of course, this is paper mesh. It is made of paper. It's really intended for indoor use, or at least in a very well protected area. You don't want to expose it to the wind and rain. However, I will have to say that it rained the day that we made these to go on post for their driveway, and at the end of the day, even after it rained on them, they still looked good. But now, I haven't seen them, since then, so they may be limp by now, but it's really best for the inside. I'm using a rotary cutter there again. This one is a Fiskars, and we're thinking about trying to stock those because, these tools make cutting so much easier than, cutting with scissors. And before I keep cutting, I need to count and see how many of these I need to go around the outside. I don't want to cut too many. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I've got just enough. So, the way we're going to make our petal, and if you see how the natural lie of the mesh is, it tends to kind of roll up like that. Well, that's the way you want your leaves to do. So you want to just kind of grasp them in the center like that. Now this is not square, so you know these edges are not going to be square, but for our leaves that's okay. And then you just kind of pinch those together. So you wind up with a petal or a leaf, and it's kind of curls to the inside. And we're going to put these on the outside of our wreath. So we're just going to pick a ring to start. I'll pick a twist to start. It doesn't matter where we start, but you just open up that twist and you lay these in, and you want the petals to both come out to the outside like that. So you twist that around, just give it a good twist. Okay, you want your leaves kind of coming to the outside like that. And we're only going to give that like 1 or 2 twists because we're going to come back on top of this with our fuchsia. But for right now, sorry, get this out of the way. And I have a color, you just have to look over that, I'm sorry. We're going to just continue going around our wreath, making the leaves. So you just bring your corners to the center and then pinch it up. And you will have some rattling, you know, with the paper mesh. It's no different from any other product you're using. You will, and you just, you know, when you get done, you just go back and clip the loose strings off. Doesn't ravel any worse than anything else. And it's really got a nice body. I like that. Now, we cut these lengths 14 inches. When we get ready to cut our fuchsia petals, we're going to make them a little bit shorter, but I wanted the leaf, the outside, to stick out a little bit beyond the pink when we go back with those petals. I hope you can't hear that wind howling outside. It's a beautiful day today. Sun is shining. It's a little bit cool, but it's going to be a great day for riding down the Tanglefoot Trail, which is what we're going to do in a little while. We have a new, well, it's called the Tanglefoot Trail, and it's the Rails to Trails program. It's an old railroad track that got converted to a track that can be used for walking, riding bicycles, and so forth. So, quite a nice thing for us to have in a small town. Just like a couple more, and then we'll be ready to cut our fuchsia petals. I like the size of this 10-inch. It makes for a smaller wreath, especially nice to use on a single door or an interior door or wall where you don't need something that's, 30 inches in width. Okay, so now we've got our leaves around the outside. And now we're ready to cut the fuchsia to make our petals. For our fuchsia, we're going to cut these petals 10 inches in length. So I'm going to roll my mesh out, my paper mesh out to the 20-inch mark where I can count 2 strips. Cut 2 strips at the same time. And I've counted around the pencil wreath, and I plan to put 2 layers of the fuchsia petals around the outer ring and the inner ring, and then probably 4 on the inside, but we'll just see how that goes. On a 10-inch roll, 10-yard roll of the 10-inch, you should be able to cut 36 10-inch strips. So the one roll of the paper mache should be plenty to do this one project with. Just a couple more, I think we'll have them. We always have a little bit left over of everything, seems like. Those little pieces come in handy though. Okay. I think this is our last strip. Okay. Alright. So, we're going to do these the same way. You look at how the paper mache curls in. So that's how we want our petals to curl in. So we just take it to the center, corners to the center, and then just go right up through there, pinch it up, and then you want to lay it on your wreath where the edges are curled a little bit to the inside. Doesn't matter where you start, but we're going to start on the outside ring, and we're going to undo one of the twists where our green petal is laying, and we're going to lay the fuchsia right down on top of that and secure it back with one twist. Now, we're going to put 2 layers in each one, so it's hard to create these and hold them in your hand. You just can't do it unless you got help. And like I say, my helper is not here. So open that back up and then lay the second layer down on top of that. Now this time, we're going to secure that a little more and give it like 3 or 4 twists. And what I'm going to do is just go ahead and take those ends and kind of tuck them to the inside. I don't particularly like my twist to show on this project anyway. And I'm just going to go ahead and twist those tips to the inside. It's easier to do now than it is to come back and do it later. Got them right there where you can see them. And you just put your corners together, pinch, open up a twist, just continue working around the wreath, lay it right in there on top of the green, and get your next one. Goes a lot faster when you got 2 people working. I'm going to have to call Carrie and tell her to come on. You know, that's a good thing when it's, you know, your family working, you know, in the shop, because, you know, you can just call them and say, hey, I need you. I know it's Saturday morning, but I need you up here. No, we won't do that to her. We'll let her have some time off on Saturday. Cut the fuchsia to make our petals. Okay, now I wanted to show you we've gone around the outer ring with 2 layers of the petals, and you can see the green sticks out a little bit farther out than the fuchsia. And now we're ready to start our petals on the inside. Just take the corners, go to the center, pinch it up. Hold it where it's curled in like that. Open up a twist. And kind of push your petals to where they all go to the outside. We're going to go ahead and do 2 layers. We just open that twist back up, lay that second layer right down on top of it. This time I'm going to give it 3 or 4 twists because we'll be through with that. Go ahead and get that twist out of the way. We're going to try this with some Deco mesh too to see how it does. We have a lot of variety in the 10-inch mesh. We've got several solid colors and several patterns. This is, really good for a spring flower, but you can make a poinsettia with the same style. We're going to use the black twist balls for this, but we also have red and green. I guess a poinsettia really probably would need gold on the center, but we don't have a gold right now, but you could always use the green. 10-inch mesh, whether it be faux burlap or mesh paper, has just been very popular this year, especially with the ruffle technique. Just kind of gives a wreath a little different look. So we have just really sold a lot of different kinds of 10-inch product. Tucking those ends of those twists. Keep pushing those petals to the outside, and then I'm tucking the ends of my twist to the inside just to get them out of the way. See, when you get a little rattling, just pull that off. Okay, well, 2 more. And then we're going to be ready to do that centerpiece, which is going to be a little bit different. The center petals, we're going to have to make us some twists to attach those center petals. Okay, one more. Now then, we've got 2 layers of petals of the fuchsia around the inner and the outer ring. And we're just going to push those twists to the center to get them out of the way. And, on your back, once we get finished, if you're just making this wreath for yourself, that's fine. But if you're making it to sell or to give to someone, you probably want to, secure those twists, kind of wrap them around that work frame a little bit, to kind of get them out of the way. And you do always want to check your wreath and just check for kind of sharp edges or anything. If you've got something where, where the twists are attached that's sharp, you want to bend up to the center so it doesn't scratch your wall or your door. And if you've got something that you just can't bend to the center, cover it up with a little piece of duct tape or something. You don't want it scratching up your wall. Okay, now, remember where we attached it's like a crosshair, we attached our chenille stems across the center because we're going to put about 4 more petals in the center. And the way that we're going to attach that is to use another chenille stem. Of course, let's see if I can find another pink. Okay, I found some pink. And I'm going to cut these with wire cutters. It's very tempting to just grab your scissors and cut, but you'll ruin your scissors. Cut them with wire cutters. I'm going to cut them in half. This should give us enough. Now, we're going to do our petals the same way. Make our petal. Okay, we're going to make our petal the same way, and now we're ready to attach it. We're going to put 4 into this center area, and we're going to use a piece of a chenille stem to do that. We probably could use the twist ball, but I'm really using those more for decoration for the center of the wreath versus attaching. So for my purposes, I'm going to attach this, and the way I'm going to do this so that I don't have ends sticking up, I put my piece of the chenille stem on it like that, and then I'm going to go to the center and I'm going to attach it. I'm going to just flip it over to the back where I can give that a good twist. And then I'm going to take those petals and do just like we did on the other, kind of point them all going outward. Make another petal, pinch it together, take my chenille stem and kind of put it on there like a staple, and then I'm going to go back to the center again and just go right over, close to the center, flip it to the back, twist it together. I'm not too worried about what my back looks like at this point. I'm going to probably put about 4 petals to the center. It just depends on how full you want it, what kind of material you're using. This is kind of a experimental project. Just put that to the center. And I'm kind of twisting my twist ties, picking up both sides of the crosshair so that I don't have one petal slipping off to the side here. It's pretty full so far. I think we got room for one more. I'm sorry, I know you really can't see what I'm doing there, but I want to put that last twist. I want to make sure that I get kind of in the center of my, of my crosshair. Okay, so it's beginning to, it's pretty full. We've got our center closed up good. And we'll clip those strings in a little bit. What we want to do next is put our black twist balls. And these have, these particular ones have a little bit of evergreen. They're about, let's see, I think they call that a 6-inch twist because I think it's 6 inches from here to here, and the ball is about 1.5 inches. And these are black glitter, and they're really messy. But now, we want those for the center, so we're going to kind of poke those up through the back of the wreath, and just bring them up through there, and kind of twist it. I'm just going to do one twist around that right now, and I'm going to take another one. Going to go in kind of opposite. Have to kind of pull your petals apart where you can see where to go up through there. Stick it in through the back. See? And then we'll go back to the front and pull it out. And we're going to give it another twist. And then we're going to kind of twist all these balls together so they stay together. Okay? Now then. Here we go. And you just kind of reshape your petals. Any place you need to fill in. Or pull them out. Fluff them out. You can do that now. And sometimes it helps to hang that on the wall. And take a step back and look. I'm too close to it to go out there and look. But that does help, and that way you can get it smoothed out. You can see if you got any gaps or places that you need to. You might even have to add another petal. I mean, you can do that. And you can do that with mesh. Anytime you're working with a mesh wreath and you've got a gap, I mean, you can just make another poof and attach it by using the chenille stems. You can do that with the ruffle wreath too. Okay? Well, there we go. Now, I think we need to add some some greenery to hang down from it, sort of like leaves. And you could, you know, if you wanted to, you could make a stem out of a cardboard roll, but we're just going to attach some more of the lime green and make tails for a leaf hanging down. Okay, there's our wreath on the board, and you can tell a little bit more about the overall size and shape of it at this point. It measures about 27 inches in width and has a depth of about 10 or 12 inches or so. And now all we're going to do is just add some tails to it. To add the tails to our wreath, we're just going to take more of our lime green and we're going to cut 2 pieces. I cut this first piece about, I don't know, 24 inches or so. And we're going to cut another piece, maybe a little bit longer, just so they'll be staggered and won't be exactly the same length. So I'm going to cut this one about 36. And I'm going to fold those ends. And going to chevron those ends just to finish it off a little bit. Just cut it right across like that from the folded edge and make that little chevron. Just always be sure and cut from the folded edge across at an angle. And then spread that out. Then I'm going to take my other piece and put it right on top of that. And then going to just gather that up right through the center. It just about came out the same length. Okay, then we're going to take our wreath and we're going to put this on the bottom of our wreath. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to secure it with a zip tie. We're going to go around our tail, and then we're going to go put our zip tie around the frame of the wreath. And we want to make sure that we go attach the zip tie, go through the ring, and then also go around like one of the center pieces so that it will be secured and it won't be slipping from side to side. Zip ties are very good for securing things that you don't want slipping around. Get it on there tight. Won't come loose. Okay, get it on there as tight as you want it, and then cut your zip tie using your wire cutters. Don't use your scissors. And anytime you use a zip tie on your wreath, you always want to cut that, turn that raw edge to the inside so it won't scratch. Now let me lay it back up here where I can tell more about it. And then we're gonna just kind of hold the tails down like that. Anyway, and you can make it longer, shorter, whatever. We just had that line left over, so that's plenty. Okay? So that's it. Thank you for stopping by.